Sandra, do you agree with that?
Yeah, you know, I can't help but feel there's a certain irony in all this because, you know, when you look at the process from the 1970s onwards of our people as they take that long trudge towards treaty settlement, just when all the uncles and the plastic briefcases and the heartbreaks and the nannies and the expensive lawyers get to the starting blocks, the Crown says, now sort out all your cross-claim issues with all your cousins and every other iwi that lives around you. And our people are forced to look around and say, well, there's another 5 years on the agenda, whatever it is. And you know, in a funny kind of way, in a contemporary constitutional sense, that is exactly what Rodney Hyde's invented for this government with this new super city, which is actually a state government without a constitution at the regional level. And what they're saying is, people on the North Shore, you sort out your issues with Great Barrier, sort out your issues with Manukau, sort out your issues with One Tree Hill and etc. before they even get to us. Now, if local government's meant to be local, there's a heck of a lot of nuances. Let me just say, you know, the last time they amalgamated us, you know, a mile in our shoes in the proposition of local government, Auckland City Council, our new bosses, came down to Great Barrier Island, saw all the car wrecks on the side of the road, said, what a mess, we're going to teach these people on Great Barrier about tourism. So they brought a car crusher down to the island, crunched every car wreck on the side of the road, made them the size of Weet-Bix boxes and took them away on a barge. And the next morning as a councillor, my phone rang hot, where the hell's our kids' bus shelters gone? Now, it's all about actually, you know, might have been a car wreck to the tourism developers on Auckland City, but there are bus shelters on the island, you know, and that's the thing. So I don't think that they even realise the monster that they've created for themselves. And, you know, anybody who knows how to count numbers politically knows that whoever wins Auckland wins the Treasury benches in Parliament. So that's a bottom line for them. Now, in Māori terms and against that, there are some fundamental issues that need to be asked that are still unaddressed. And the first one is this: no matter what the nice sounding words of all the elected representatives who won on Saturday night, is there going to be a resolution day one from this new constitutional structure, unprecedented in the Commonwealth actually, to endorse a treaty? Will they make a clear statement that all the existing statutory obligations under the Resource Management Act, the Treaty of Waitangi, Public Works Act and every other government statute will be upheld and enacted and operated in an open and transparent way for Māori in this region regardless of the iwi? Will they give a clear direction to their professional staff Māori in terms of the powers of that Māori board and the capacity and funding of it, against the right anyway of hapu and iwi to come to their local authority and knock on the door and say, we're talking about this or we're talking about that as of right? And apropos that, given that there are 3 Māori councillors, we really need some advice from the Mayor and the elected representatives that those 3 councillors will not be given the power to override the advice of the board by virtue of the fact that they happen to whakapapa Māori, which is not to take away from their mandate. I've been there, you know, not taking away from their mandate in Hawak or wherever, but simply to say that given that they can claim a mandate separate because Māori were originally denied a right to a seat and a mandate, that any recommendations coming out of our statutory board won't be overridden by Māori at the table by virtue of the fact that they happen to get elected for CNR or whoever. So they are sort of day one questions that I really think that our people here in this region, whether you're matawaka or tangata whenua, claimant groups or just an irate payer, Māori need to put up to this incoming council day one so that we have some clear-cut resolutions, because under the new Local Government Act, which I helped write, I like to think I wrote, they're obliged to do so.
How much of a priority is the treaty, do you think, Heta, for the new council? Do you support what Sandra's saying?
I guess the natural cynic would come out of me in a sense that I suspect it'll be given sort of just token recognition. If you look at sort of the Royal Commission in terms of not even sort of recognising the need for Māori representation, I mean, does that give us a bit of an insight as to where their whakaaro lies in terms of that inclusion again for Māori. I'd like to see the Māori Statutory Board actually have some teeth in terms of its ability to affect change and to, I guess, ensure that the treaty is included as part of those major decisions that are going to be made, throughout this region. But like I said, I'm a bit of a cynic. History tells us that it's usually watered down to some extent, and that it won't be upheld to the extent that which Sandra just described. So I guess I cannot see it actually being something that is going to be held up here. I think it'll be sort of held to the side.
Do you think, though, it should be held up here?
Personally, I do. I think there's room for inclusion of the treaty in terms of how you can really sort of give a voice to both parties within the Auckland region and within New Zealand.
Why should it be a priority, though? Why should the treaty be a priority?
Well, I guess it's, to almost sound cliche, if you sort of talk about the treaty being sort of part of the fabric of our society in terms of bringing the two partners together. I mean, the rhetoric's always been there, but we've never actually seen it being affected in any real way. It's always been sort of watered down to either the principles of the treaty or we will consult but never give power based on the treaty. So I think, like Sandra said, this probably was an opportunity for it to actually have some constitutional bearing on how things are done. So yeah, I would like to see it given a realistic consideration in terms of how decisions are made within Auckland region.
Matiri, I dare say you would support all that. But why should it be a priority? Can you elaborate further in terms of why it should be a priority for the new City Council?
Well, it should be. I'm had it right. It is a constitutional document. It is the basis on which our constitutional systems are built. The process of local government. Local government is a form of government. It's built on that same constitutional basis. It's devolved power from central government. Therefore, there are the same obligations because it is part of that constitutional governance system. Has the same obligations to the treaty as central government does, in my view. And so, therefore, to be legitimate, that governance system has to recognise the constitutional centrality of the treaty.
Okay,
so at that really base constitutional level, yes, it has to be there. It's not. It was demonstrably excluded. Even the Royal Commission, in recommending the seats, only did it at that level. There wasn't the kind of the deeper levels of entrenchment that I think if there had been more specific engagement with Māori who are experts at those constitutional issues could have given it more teeth at that Royal Commission level as well. But Royal Commission did something. Even that was taken away in the final structure. And I think Sandra has set out a whole array of puddings actually that the council could choose from as to demonstrate some proof of its commitment. And I think at least even just recognition of it at first would be a really good step. It would show that they were thinking about it. It was in their minds.
From.
Yeah.